Hey, this your girl Sierra Blue.
Hey, and this is your favorite guy, Just Man.
What's up, Real Talkers? It's Fearless.
Are we really that different?
Hmm.
Let's get into it. Let's start it off.
Mhm.
Fearless, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, if you're talking about the difference between men and women, I think that if we think about like the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and then now, we have changed. Our roles have changed drastically. I mean, in the 60s,
Mhm.
you were known to stay at home, you raised the kids. Women probably didn't work. They probably didn't even drive cars. But now, 2026, we're doing all of that. And
Right?
so, are we really different? I mean, I think that women's roles have changed just like men's roles have changed. I mean, I've been told several times, I'm in the corporate world where sometimes the only woman at the table, um, that I'm just like one of the guys. I think like men versus a woman. And it's not so much as that, it's just, and as time has kind of progressed, if you want to sit at the table, you got to be able to communicate at the table. I'm not shying down. I'm going to speak my truth. I'm going to say what I need to say, and I'm going to know what I'm talking about. I'm going to be prepared. And, I'm going to go in there and because I want to be the top person at the table. So I just think things have changed. I think that, we used to have more traditional way that women did things, but I think today we don't have to. We can bring home the bacon, fry it up in a pan, go out and get the money. Yes, Chai. So, it's limitless. That's not saying anything, taking anything with my beautiful men. That's not that. But I think that the ceiling has been broken
Mhm.
and we bust through it. And so there is nothing that we can't accomplish. We're going after the White House next. So watch out.
Love it.
So let me ask you this then, Fearless, on your take on that. Like when you say you was in, like when you have to be in a room with men, do you feel like you would have to be that way if you was in a room with full of females? Do you feel like you would have to be that strong? Or do you feel like you would already be that strong because you're in a room full of females and you wouldn't have to go as hard or feel like you have
Mhm.
to do more? You see what I'm saying? Because when you with
Yes.
men, any female will tell you that, I'm around these men. I know I have, in their mind, they
Yes.
know they have to go the extra mile. So when you're around females, do you feel like you have to go the extra mile or you feel like I'm already where I need to be?
You know what? I guess at this stage in my career, I don't feel like I have to prove anything to anyone. But I think that when I was coming
Right.
up and really
Hmm.
trying to find my way, I knew that I had to be able to stand toe to toe with anybody that was in the room, whether it was women or men. And so
Right.
I think that if you're looking to grow in a corporate kind of environment, you're going to have to stand toe to toe and know your things. I mean, I learned how to play golf. I did everything because I'm like, I want to be at the table. I want to be where they're making decisions. And if you don't talk the talk and walk the walk, you won't be at that table. So, but if I'm sitting there with women, it's not going to change for me at all. I remember
Hmm.
I was taking some classes and it was online and we didn't know who was men. And my name is kind of universal, so it could go either way. And I remember we was doing a project and I was kind of telling people what they need to do. And the women were like, we're so glad we have a man in here to tell us what to do. And I was like, I've been a woman all my life, but they just assumed
Right.
because the way that I kind of spoke and kind of directed people that I had to be a man, and it shouldn't be that way. Women can be soft. We can be direct. We can be humble. We can be very strong. And it shouldn't matter whether we're doing it or not. But I think that no matter who's at the table, I'm going to be sincerely who I am.
Right. Absolutely. So
Yeah.
my take on that, I just want to piggyback. So
Hmm.
as a man looking at it from the other side,
Yes.
are we different? Yes, because a man now sees that the woman has all the everything is towards women power. Like everything that you see in the media, everything is towards women. So now when I walk into a room and I see women, I know I
Hmm.
got to step my game up. The
Hmm.
charm, the blinking of the eye, it ain't working with you. They not playing that. They done been there. So
Hmm.
so I get what you're saying when you say that. So I that is very relatable. I appreciate you for sharing that.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Just man, I mean, you're looking through different lenses. And so how do you see things as far are we different at all? I mean, you're looking at it from different aspect too. From, I'm looking at it from a woman's point of view and you're looking at it from a man's point of view.
I honestly, in my opinion, good question, Fearless. Thank you for asking me. Um, yes, I feel like in this day and age, I feel like the world has made the roles flip.
Mm.
women are more empowered than men.
Mm.
Um, I feel like men who do what they're supposed to do don't get appreciated that much. And examples are Mother's Day, you won't find a card in Dollar Tree, Walmart, Food Line, the guy on the corner. You can
Right.
go to Mars, you can go to Venus. Mother's Day is celebrated with the aliens, it's celebrated with Bambi. I mean, Mother's Day is celebrated. Now think about Father's Day. I can find a card at anywhere. I can get a card from Food Line, Walmart, Publix, Harris Teeter. I don't see a commercial, but one or two talking about getting some socks or a t-shirt. So yeah, I'm just telling you what, as a man, what we go through. And most people don't see that as a man. We're not going to complain because we're
Mm-hmm.
always supposed to be the provider. That's one thing that hasn't changed through the years. Like Phyllis
Mm-hmm.
said, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. The one thing that's always been remained the same, the man is supposed to be the provider. Now, where we buffer and where I think the head button is where women now feel like either married or not, they can be the provider too. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where that
Mm-hmm.
head of household, it bumps heads at that point. Because
Mm-hmm.
even though you make money too, is you going to let your man lead the house or do you feel like it should be an equal thing?
Mm.
So I feel like that's where is are we really that different come in?
Yeah.
Because when it comes to the aspect of basic living, I could be in a restaurant with you and you're in there, oh, I'm finna order the 17, the 35. I'm looking like, where's the nearest exit? Where do we need to sit so I can see that exit? Who's in this restaurant so I can watch them? You're not thinking about any of that. You're not even worried about none of
None of it.
that. So when I say, are we really that different? Honestly, I
Mm-hmm.
think we are when it comes to a lot of stuff outside of work. When it
Mm-hmm.
just comes to home culture and all of that, we do really think different. And I
Yeah.
just think men just don't speak up enough to
Mm.
say that because we don't think it is going to change or it really matters. Because some women are so strong that when a man says something, they're either complaining, they're sassy,
Mm.
or on that level. Does that
Mm-hmm.
make sense, Sierra Blue and Fearless?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, I'm thinking, that as a woman, growing up and maturing at the age I am now, my role has definitely changed differently. And that was, I believe, based off on when I was in a marriage, the husband would do a lot of things. And I would sit back and allow a lot of things. I know that we were different with parenting styles. We were different in communication styles to the children and to ourselves. And I think back then I felt like, okay, he's gonna take care of everything. I don't have to do anything. I could work or not work. Um, that's when I felt most empowered is when I was working because then I was contributing. But when I was not working, I was just sitting back trying to figure out what's my next move to continue to be myself. Now, when I became single, I felt like I played both roles,
Mm-hmm.
the dad and the mother. And so one side of me had to be motherly, nurturing, caring, kind of sophisticated. Then the other side of me had to be firm, disciplined, take no nonsense, because it was a bunch of boys and one girl in one house. So I think the roles for me change differently. I think men and women do things differently when there is a certain occasion or circumstance. I think that's when you see a man being a man and a woman being a woman. And I do believe, like Fearless said, times have changed for women, as early as the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Now we're in 21st century. Women do have a more vocal point of view and their voices are being heard and being respected. We're still fighting for certain things, but I believe as a society, we have come a long way to accept women as the power plays. I believe
Mm-hmm.
women, they fight harder sometimes for things in their lives that can make their significant others look good or to help their children to excel. I think men, sometimes they're busy working or busy doing their own hobbies, and they're not as more focused on those things inside the house. I think some men are focused on finances and just trying to stay afloat. Women may be more shopaholic-y if they have that in their bloodstream. And sometimes those bills get overlooked. But at the same time, when I was by myself, I had to look both ways, 4 ways all the time, trying to save, trying to budget, trying to splurge a little bit here and there, trying to, do a lot of things that I wished I had a partner to help me with. So I do agree with both of you. And Just Man, your points were very valid about, things that you look at as far as women, they can be bosses now. They can be CEOs in different positions. They can be in the White House and still have roles, and very understandably so, because we've worked so hard to get where we are now. So that's my take on it. I think we are different in a lot of things that makes us woman and man.
Now, Sierra Blue and Just Man, I know, on television, you're seeing now more that, like Sierra Blue, that women are having more opportunities in being the C-class and being the CEOs. And sometimes you hear the husbands are staying at home. Now, although these roles may be reversed, that the husband is maybe not the breadwinner, I think it's still important that women understand what a man's role is. So regardless of what you do in your professional life, when it comes to your personal life, you still have to make sure that is in order. Now, I'm guilty of it, that in my first marriage, I wore the pants, and I didn't want to, but I end up doing it. And I had to really do some soul searching, because that wasn't my role, and I should not have done it. I should not have allowed that to happen within my marriage. So regardless of where I am as far as professionally, when I come home, my husband is the king. He is the breadwinner. He is the glue. He is the foundation. It has nothing to do with what has to do with my personal life. I will make sure my house is in order, and that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do as a wife to make sure that my husband is in the role that he's supposed to be based on God's word. So, we have to look at it those different ways that, it may be different when it comes to professional and opportunities and careers and things like that, but we still have to keep the household in order.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree with that totally, Fearless, because you go into 2 different fields, and it's a battlefield for both of y'all. And you want to make sure when you come home, that's not a battlefield. So that's what it comes to. Are we really that different outside of the house? Absolutely. But when we're in that house, we shouldn't be different. Absolutely. We should already know what we're supposed to be doing. You know your role. I know my role. You don't have to cook all the time. I can cook too. I can wash the dishes just like you wash the dishes. I can clean the house just like you clean the house. But like you said, even if you made 6 figures and he made 40,000, when you come home, he comes home, he is still the king of that house. He still runs that house, because that's his role.
Exactly.
And yes, you may get mad sometime and be like, hey, but listen, if I want to leave, I get that. I get that, but
hey, one bucket. That money in one bucket. So you know what, you're leaving with half. So
leaving with half. So we in this until our RIP, until I put you on the t-shirt, until we on the t-shirt together. So I get that, and I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yes.
And ladies, I respect you both for that and that insight, Fearless and Sierra Blue. So are we really that different? Not really, but in some aspects we are. And we always will be. But the most important thing is to always respect each other's differences. And then at the end of the day, come together. So at the end of the night, this is Just Man signing out. I want you to know, Real Talkers, we appreciate you all for listening. Please always like, subscribe, and follow, and tell somebody else to tell somebody else to tell somebody else to come listen to us too. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. And don't forget to go to our website, Real Talk, 4, realwomen.com. We want you to go over there, leave some messages for you, because we love to hear from you.
And that's right. We're going to stay real talkers, and we're going to stay in our truth. Keep it coming. We love to hear from you, and we thank you all for following us.
This has been Real Talk for Real Women with Just Man.